Morning, Jessie. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Thank you very much. So, for those who are watching today, I'm meeting with Jessie King, who is our team lead with TFCO. And maybe you could start off by telling me what TFCO stands for, Jessie.
Yeah, sure. So TFCO stands for Treatment Foster Care Oregon.
Okay. And so we've had a couple of these talks. I think if you haven't already seen our last interview with Claudine Durkee, it was great. She's kind of the program like lead. And so what we wanted to talk to you about today, Jesse, was really to get an understanding just a little bit deeper about TFCO, like why it's important, who it benefits. Can you tell me a little bit about TFCO, like in your eyes?
Yeah, so it is a new program to Thompson. We're still working on implementing multiple teams across North Carolina. It's an evidence-based program, which means that there's a ton of research that has been provided to show that this program really works. And I think what's important about the research is there's been multiple studies done about different elements of the program. So, as a team lead and a clinical coordinator, that gives us a lot of opportunity to serve multiple different types of kids. Um, and also, too, we serve kiddos that are more at risk and they're between the ages of 12 to 17. And the goal is really to provide the intensive therapeutic services for youth in a home setting. And, it's we're looking to use it as more as an alternative for any sort of hospitalizations or like, being referred to a group home setting.
Yes, that's really really great. And just to kind of to chop that up a little bit. I mean, serving at risk youth. Not every program is targeting at risk youth.
Mhm.
From a perspective of an alternative to some of the other types of outcomes that there could be. So this is like supposed to be supporting again the at risk youth in a way that's going to take them from where they could be and put them in a better situation and really give them those natural supports that we can provide. So those, I would imagine that kind of gets into some of the differences between your traditional foster care and what TFCO does, right? From the treatment, right?
It does, yeah. So we're not only serving just the youth, we're also working with the what we call the aftercare family. So it is the family that the youth, once they graduate from our program, they're going to go and ideally be able to sustain with that family. So it can be the biological, adoptive, whatever that might look like. But we have an entire team that works with the youth, the foster parent, and the aftercare family. So there's really like a wraparound of services. We only place one youth at a time. So, as we're working through as a team, we're really able to just pour into that youth, pour into the family, and work with them so the family can develop the parenting skills that will help the youth be more successful. And the youth is also kind of working through some of the behavioral concerns that they were referred to us in the first place.
That makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned, pouring into the family, pouring into the parent. So when we're looking at the parent side of it, the characteristics that make up some of those good parents, from a TFCO standpoint, what is that? What would that be? Like, what makes up a good TFCO parent, and what kind of characteristics do we see in those people?
Yeah, so one thing that's really important is humor because, there are some pretty difficult situations that, we need to deal with, and the kids can be difficult at times. So someone who has a really good sense of humor, that's important. And, also just the willingness to learn and to work with the program. The program is pretty structured and we provide a lot of coaching, a lot of training. So someone who's able to complete the trainings with us, who's able to give us, the time. We have foster parent meetings. Again, all kind of giving us the ability to coach them in the moment or to follow up with them because we also have the 24/7 support for crisis or if there's any questions. Which also ties into, just someone who's a good communicator. So someone who's able to give us the updates, who's able to provide us with information around what's going on, so we can then go back and support them in the way that they need to be.
Yeah, that's really helpful, I'm sure, to anybody out there who's like, is this right for me or maybe not? And I would err on it might be if you have some of these things like the good communication, the sense of humor, especially with tough, tenacious situations. Maybe you could give me a little bit of insight. You don't have to go deep into it. You don't have to paint the picture deeply, but what kind of, tricky scenarios or situations might we encounter with this type of work?
Um, so that's a good question. So I think one thing is just like kind of the defiance, and if a because we work on a point and level system, so some of the kiddos that are coming in, they don't necessarily want to be there. They don't want to be held accountable for earning points during the day. And so if a foster parent's addresses a situation where a kiddo might not be earning as many points as they could be, and that the kid might push back on them, and just maybe start to argue or question that foster parent. So again,
That
that would be,
patience.
yeah, yeah. So, and also too, that's a great situation where the foster parent would be like, oh, time out, give the team lead a call, and I would be able to either address that situation myself or coach that foster parent through how to move forward with that youth.
Jesse, that's a really good answer. I know it's a tough question, but that's like the type of thing that, somebody who's watching this might be like, well, so what would I encounter, right? So then the flip side of that question, or maybe not the flip side, but the support to it is, you might run into tough situations. So what kind of support does the program offer? And you already kind of alluded to it. We got Jesse. Jesse will be there.
Yep.
What other support? And I think it just really goes back to, like, again, just to reiterate, like how the program's set up to have those supports, and just to, I guess, to make people feel like that, there is support, right?
Mhm. Yeah, so within our team, everybody has a very specific role. So the family therapist, we like to call them a family advocate. They work directly with the aftercare family, providing them support. The youth themselves has an individual therapist. We like to call them individual advocates. So the youth gets individualized support from them. Again, for the foster parents, we have the foster parent meetings. We have so many trainings that our licensors and recruiters work with the foster parent through in the initial process. 24/7 support that we're able to provide. Respite could also always be an option that the team lead would be able to set up if there really is a difficult situation, or if the foster parent just needs a break for a weekend, then we're able to provide some respite for them also.
That's good to know that, these options exist, but overall the program is really structured pretty well, and there's a lot of support that's built in. So I feel like anybody out there who's like not sure, definitely, reach out. And that leads me to my last question. So how can people who are interested kind of find out more? Like, what's the process? What do they need to talk to? Who do they need to talk to?
So the best way would be to go on the Thompson website, and you go to foster the team tab, and it brings you right to the page. And from there, I think you can be prompted to fill out the application. Also, too, we have a Facebook page, and we have informational sessions available to anybody who's interested. And the informational sessions can be found on the Facebook page or on Eventbrite. And you just register for the informational sessions. A recruiter will reach out moving forward, just because with the registration, you're able to get email addresses. And it just is a really good way for someone who is just looking for some more information that doesn't want to make the commitment of an application, to just sit down and talk with us and get some questions answered. We have a PowerPoint presentation, so it's a good way for them to get some information also.
Jesse, you're really good at talking about this program. This is awesome. Thank you for shouting out the Thompson TFCO treatment foster care page. So if you're not sure where to find that, that will be facebook.com/Thompson TFCO, and that's how you'll get there. So definitely like that Facebook page, and then of many of the other resources that Jesse mentioned. And I also know that Claudine Durkee would be welcoming multiple, conversation as well. So I'll definitely put that link in that video as well. Jesse, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I really do appreciate it. Thompson appreciates it, and I'm sure everybody else watching appreciates it. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Talk soon.